Hello, thank you for tuning into my channel. It's Finish It Friday for Friday, July 28th, 2023. So if you want to see what I've been working on this week, please stay tuned. It's been a pretty good week in the sewing room this week. I did have to start heading back to work, so my sewing time each day has been limited just a little bit, but I still was able to get a few things done that I want to share with you today. I spent last weekend finishing up adding the binding to this quilt. I added it on the front and I started moving it to the back, but I haven't gotten that far on it. Let me see how much I can show you. There is like half of a side, and then right here is where I stopped. So that is all I've done on that. I haven't really been working on it, and there's a reason, but I'll tell you that in just a few minutes. I was able to finish the quilt back for the coin quilt, so we will go up to that video now, and then I'll come back and show you what else I've been working on. The quilt back is finally finished. Take a look at this. Last time all I had left was to cut off the sides and to do the top and the bottom, but they are done now. Let's take a quick walk down the quilt just so you can see it. I am so happy with the way this turned out. It's definitely improv pieced, but I used the leftovers from my coin quilt. I sashed them or kind of bordered them with the gray fabric, and then I added this wine colored fabric to bring everything together. It is just a little bit bigger than the front of the quilt, which will be the coins. I think I'll let you see it. If you're kind of new to my channel, then you might not know the other side of this quilt. So let's kind of flip it over and see. This is going to be weird, but let's see. Here we go. So this will be the quilt top, or the front of the quilt. And then the other part is going to be the back. And I think they're going to complement each other nicely. It's just going to be really sweet to get this all finished. I actually finished the back last weekend, but I left it up because I knew I wouldn't remember to put it in the Friday video if I didn't leave it out and I wasn't looking at it every day. So here's what's gonna be the front of the quilt, the coins, and then the back is gonna be the kind of puzzle part. I can't wait to get this thing on the long arm, see what it's gonna look like. Just happy to have another thing done. I'm gonna count that quilt back as one of my summer finishes. I hope that you've enjoyed this process. In addition to finishing that quilt back, I was working on some blocks for this t-shirt quilt. I decided to switch from the feature blocks and start working on some of these Jacob's Ladder blocks because there's a little bit more sewing involved. And I have 6 of those that I can share today. 2 of them, well, one of them you've already seen, and that is this one. I think I showed this one last week, but I have its companion or twin block or whatever right here. And so for each one of these blocks, I'm doing it in 2 colorways except for one of them, and I'll show you that in a minute. Here's another one. And so I use printed fabric or printed shirts, solid shirts, everything to get it done. This is the twin block for the last one. Instead of using green as the accent color for this one, I use red. Okay. Then I have this one. This block is going to be a solo block. It's going to be the only one in this colorway. It ended up being the 15th block, which is the odd man out. And then there's one more right here. I like the way this block turned out with the plaid and this cream. It looks really nice. The only thing about this particular block, I'm working on its twin right now, but this block has a sweatshirt. This cream is a sweatshirt and it is super thick. So I'm going ahead and getting started and just making all the blocks that have this fabric in it right now. So I'm gonna switch back and make the feature block after I'm done with the matching block for this one. So this one is gonna have the plaid fabric where this gray is. So going this way, and then well, I said gray, it's more blue, and then that blue is gonna go back that way. So very cool. I like the way that it's coming together. And right now I think that gives me 11 blocks and I have 30 total blocks to make for that quilt. So I'll keep plugging away at it so that hopefully it can get done fairly quickly and get put on the long arm so I can get it back to the person who commissioned it. Now, if you have been following my channel, I changed the design wall. I changed it to a new quilt. I had some of the Starlight Star Bright blocks on it, but I decided to pull out this jewelry box quilt, and there's a special reason for that. I'll explain right now. So if you've never seen this quilt, it's the jewelry box quilt. I made it, I think, as a part of Vlogmas in July. I don't think I made it last summer, but I'm gonna link the playlist up here in the cards so that you can go and check it out. This block was really simple to make. It's just square and a square blocks that I sewed together and then cut them in a special way so that now they look like diamonds. Since they look like diamonds, that's why I call it the jewelry box, because it's like the diamond is inside its box, whatever. Love this quilt. I took it out, and once I put it on the design wall, I was super happy about it. So it's staying there right now while I actually work on finishing it up. The reason that I'm going to finish it up is because it is going to be a gift for a baby. So I am very excited about that. The baby was born last week, like on Saturday. So I want to get this as soon as I can to that person. The other baby quilt that I gave away recently was the Trip Around the World, and the baby was like 6 months old when I gave him the quilt, and I really would like to do a little bit better this time. So I'm going to, I decided to go ahead and pull this out, and I thought I was gonna have to make a binding, but I had the binding already made, and this is made from leftovers from that quilt. So if I open it all the way out, you can see some of the different blues and greens that I used, and I was able to get enough to make a binding to go around that quilt top. So very excited that I did not have to make a binding. The only thing is this is a one-piece binding, so I am gonna have to stitch it on by hand, which means that I need to go ahead and get it quilted as soon as possible because I know this step takes time. What I decided to do was piece a back. I was gonna, like, my first thought is to run and get a 108 backing, but this quilt is only like 65 by 66, so I don't need to, I don't even need 108 inches to get it done. So I decided to piece a backing, and I was gonna piece something that is kind of like this, with a lot of squares that I have to sew together and cut so that it would mimic the jewelry box, but I decided not to do that because it would take a very long time. So I ended up pulling some colors from, some fabrics from my stash. I pulled inspiration from this, this piece, like these colors, and just saw kind of what I had, and then I laid all those fabrics out. I did take a picture of them, and I'll put the picture in here in the video, but I have like what's left of the fabric. So here are a few of the pieces. There's this, so I used like I used this fabric, which I just purchased from homespunhearth.com. And I used almost all 2 yards of this, and I have this brown, and then I had another brown, And then a couple of what I consider blues as well to go with this quilt back. And I had a larger panel. If you look at the picture, there's a larger piece of fabric there. And so what I did was I took the initial rectangle and kind of log cabined it around until I got to the size that I needed. I did draw it out, but when the drawing didn't exactly match what I was supposed to do, and then I made a mistake cutting, whatever. So I put all these fabrics together, and I have the back. I'm going to go upstairs and show it to you now. This is the finished quilt back for the baby quills. I'm so happy with it. It is super cute. I'm going to go in a little bit close so you can see the individual fabrics. Here you can see that log cabin action pretty good. So let's go in close and take a look. The main fabric is these campers. And then I added this light brown. And then the darker brown is over on top. And then I did like a light blue kind of on this side. And then what I called a darker blue on the other side. And then I tried to use the same fabric all the way around, but I ran out. And so I had more of the dot that I could put on that corner. So I have the entire back done. It is about 74 by 78. So it's big enough to go ahead and quilt. And I I forgot to say I starched all the fabrics really good before I started putting them together. And they sewed up really nice. So I'm going to pretty soon put this up on the long arm and get it quilted so that I can get it to its owner. I actually put this back together pretty fast for me. So I'm excited to see what the finished quilt looks like. So that quilt back is so cute. Really excited about it. Since I was doing that particular project, I was able to use a string block as leader enders. So I have one string block made here. I have a friend who's making a quilt, and I'm gonna make just a few string blocks to send to her. So I have one block here and then one here on the machine, and I'm gonna cut these down. I just used copy paper. I'm gonna cut these down to 8 inches, I think, and then get them sent to her. Again, not sure how many I'm gonna make, but just a few because she is working on a quilt that has quite a few string blocks. I am excited about working on the t-shirt quilt a little bit more and getting that other quilt onto the long arm, getting it quilted hopefully quickly, because as soon as that one's done, I think that the other quilt, the t-shirt quilt, will be ready to go onto the long arm. So really exciting stuff going on. Let me know in the comments what you're working on, what you're excited about with your sewing, quilting, crafting, whatever. If you have any questions about what you've seen in this video, leave them in the comments below. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!